I can play. I'm trading in late nights for daytime fun. I'd rather be out in the sun. Met a new girlie, she gets up early to swim in the ocean blue. Wears a bikini, so teeny weeny. Now I get up early too. I ain't going to sleep all day. I got to get outside where I can play. I'm trading in late nights for daytime fun. I'd rather be out in the sun. Down at the playground, we throw the ball round. Jam till the day is through. The sun is setting and we are getting ready to barbecue. No late night clubbing, no elbow rubbing, no smoky crowded room. I'll take the beauty of dancing booty outside where the flowers bloom. Oh yeah! I ain't going to sleep all day. I got to get outside where I can play. I'm trading in late nights for daytime fun. I'd rather be out in the sun. I've got the notion to grab this sun lotion and rub it all over you. I must be flipping, she's skinny dipping. Now I'm skinny dipping too. I ain't going to sleep all day. I got to get outside where I can play. I'm trading in late nights for daytime fun. I'd rather be out in the sun. No late night clubbing, no elbow rubbing, no smoky crowded room. I think the beauty of dancing booty outside where the flowers bloom. Yes, sir. I ain't going to sleep all day. I got to get outside where I can play. I'm trading in late nights for daytime fun. I'd rather be out in the sun. I ain't going to sleep all day. I got to get outside where I can play. I'm trading in late nights for daytime fun. I'd rather be out in the sun. outside where the flowers bloom. Oh yeah. I ain't going to sleep all day. I got to get outside where I can play. I'm trading in late nights for daytime fun. I'd rather be out in the sun. I've got the notion to grab this sun lotion and rub it all over you. I must be flipping, she's skinny dipping. Now I'm skinny dipping too. I ain't going to sleep all day. I got to get outside where I can play. I'm trading in late nights for daytime fun. I'd rather be out in the sun. No late night clubbing, no elbow rubbing, no smoky crowded room. I think the beauty of dancing booty outside where the flowers bloom. Yes, sir. I ain't going to sleep all day. I got to get outside where I can play. I'm trading in late nights for daytime fun. I'd rather be out in the sun. I ain't going to sleep all day. I got to get outside where I can play. I'm trading in late nights for daytime fun. I'd rather be out in the sun. I ain't going to sleep all day. I got to get outside where I can play. I'm trading in late nights for daytime fun. I'd rather be out in the sun. I've got the notion to grab this sun lotion and rub it all over you. I must be flipping, she's skinny dipping. Now I'm skinny dipping too. I ain't going to sleep all day. I got to get outside where I can play. I'm trading in late nights for daytime fun. I'd I'd rather be out in the sun. No late night clubbing, no elbow rubbing, no smoky crowded room. I think the beauty of dancing booty outside where the flowers bloom. I ain't going to sleep all day. I got to get outside where I can play. I'm trading late nights for daytime fun. I'd rather be out in the sun.
That's right. That's right. I'd rather be out in the sun.
That just reminded me.
What?
Last night we caught the part of the Paul Simon
Oh, yes, we did.
tribute, and there was some good reggae on there. They did Paul Simon songs, but they did one of them like reggae-ish.
Wow, go figure. They did Paul. Oops, there's my candle. What happened to my candle here? Oh, that was interesting that they did Paul Simon songs.
All Paul Simon songs done differently.
Where
I
should
tell you
we-
what, Billy Porter really
Billy Porter is like off the chain.
amazing.
Yeah, he's pretty great.
He sings his ass off.
Yes, he does. Trying to get the candle outside the ship. Oh, there it went, and now it's gone. And well, okay. I don't want to burn the tree down.
Oh, Kitty said part
Oh,
of
here we
Michigan's already under blizzard warning.
Oh no, guys, that's dreadful.
Well,
and-
they're staying in. They're smart.
Yeah, well, you gotta stay in. You have to stay in. I'm sorry, I'm obsessed with the candle. It's like, I'm like one of those ADD kids with the candle over here. But I got it.
They like the candle.
I'm glad.
We're gonna throw back a fun one today.
Oh yeah, this is we're looking through what we could throw back, and one of the things about the show is, the idea of the show and so on and so forth is to give you guys a look at the business, or the the what we do from a different perspective. Give you a different perspective, maybe one that you wouldn't see, or so on. And I'm looking through the shows today, and this one goes back to kind of the beginning. It's September of 2020, so
Yeah.
more than 2 years ago. I don't think I was even broadcasting from the ship at that time.
No. I think you were the floating head.
No, I was in the control room. I
Oh,
think.
were you?
Yeah, but anyway, if you look up, and I want to make sure that I do this right. Hang on a second. Okay. Right. Yeah, there we go. Okay. On this episode is Alan St. John, Jesus. Alan Childs.
Drummer.
And he has played with
David Bowie.
It must be time for the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Bowie. I mean, his list of credentials just goes on and on. And Alan came up in a different crowd. Obviously, Alan was from Brooklyn, so the early days he spent with guys like Annie Martinez and Carmine Rojas, and these are guys who obviously went on to play. They're guys that that I came to know in the business, and played with Carmine many times, and actually with Alan many times. But the camaraderie in the business is amazing. So I had Eddie on, and let me see. I got
Alan and guitarist Matt Beck played in the Broadway show Stomp together.
That's right. There you go.
Was it Stomp or Rent?
Stomp, I think. I know. Well, I don't know.
Matt makes an appearance in here, and they'll tell us.
Yeah. So you'll get the gist of it. But these guys are all from, like, we had our Westchester crowd or our Long Island crowd. These guys had their Brooklyn crowd. And we're talking about, when the world was new, and wow, did you hear about the Beatles? And what I decided to do for this show, because all these guys are great guys, and I had already had Eddie on, I think earlier in the week, and I told those guys, look, I'm having Alan Childs on, jump in. I gave him and so this is not a typical show, because it's more like mayhem, but this is a great view of what our business is and what an exclusive club it is, and what a respected group, you know, everyone is. There's just such a tremendous amount of respect based on nothing but, you know, the job you did in the business, not how much you got paid or how many records you sold. It's how you laid it down. What happened between 4 and good night. So anyway, I think you're really going to enjoy this. I laugh my ass off. That's my job these days. But I hope you'll join me in some laughter. These guys are as good as it gets, and you'll figure out who everybody is, and I'll be right here. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's roll.
Don't blow the candle out.
Roll, baby, roll.
Okay, let's
Pat's
roll.
in Facebook
We
jail.
haven't
I
rolled
think.
yet. There's me
Here
looking.
we go.
I look older.
Hey, Instacart's
Okay,
here.
Instacart's here. How are you doing, man?
Good.
Good. Sounds good. Sounds good. This is this is us hanging out and talking about stuff. I should have run. I did a and you can actually watch this go on. I'm going to put this up real quick. You'll be able to see it. I hope. If I press the right buttons. Did I press the right buttons?
Yep.
Okay, so you're seeing that's you, and it goes through these kind of quick, but it's a fun thing for me. And we'll talk about all this stuff when we come back. There's Brother Carmine. I need to know about that picture, and of course, we'll talk about Bowie and the rest of it. But that's just, you know, it's funny because with this, and we're back to us now. I think. I hope anyway. There we are. Okay, are we there? I don't know what's going on. See, when I start pressing buttons, it's terrible. You know about that. It's a bad thing. I messed up. Ah, here we go. Oh, this is easy. And I just have to resize us. Don't you hate when they do that? All right, here we are, and boom. See, after 7 months, I'm finally learning how this stuff works. It's much better when I'm facing the other way, but it's, you know. So I gotta ask you, because you're one playing dude. I mean, you, ever since I've known you, and it's been a minute. I mean, we're both native New Yorkers, which is, how proud are we? Can you, you can still smell it on us.
Never goes away.
It never goes away. I said to my wife before I was getting ready to move, we were getting ready to come down to, I think we were actually already in Florida. And I said, man, I don't want to lose my New Yorkness, and which I can barely even say. And she said, I don't think you're going to lose your New Yorkness.
Never.
Yeah, good. So there we are. So, what were you doing before George Jones canceled all the gigs?
Actually, I was on tour with a Bowie celebration.
Oh, that's right. Because I had.
Yeah, that's Bowie alumni with lead singers filling in for David. And there was Corey Glover from Living Color was one of the singers. A whole bunch. And we went to Europe in January, and then in March we started the United States, like March 2nd. And then, I don't know, the 14th, 15th, somewhere around there, 12th, 13th, 14th, we played Portland, on our way to Seattle, and we found out the show got canceled in Seattle. And a few hours after that, we found out the rest of the tour was canceled.
Man.
So, you know.
I do. That's that's some nasty reality right there. It's there's nothing like having the gig pulled out from under you. And but I guess if it had to happen, it's better than some of the other choices. Although you lost David, back in the day. But tell me about the Glass Spider tour, because I was talking to Carmine Rojas about it, and he said that you guys were down here in Tampa, and he reached out to me, and I didn't get the message, or I would have been there in a heartbeat. But because I kept seeing it on Insta, and every other place. Just tell me what was going on because I missed it.
I didn't know you were in Tampa that long ago.
Well, I'm in Southwest Florida, but Tampa's like an easy run for me, hour and 45.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we hit Florida. It was amazing. I wish you could have seen it.
Me too. So, and what did you do? I mean, what was the set list, or how did it go?
Yeah, actually, the set list changed from the beginning. About 3 shows in, when we started in Europe, David wasn't happy with the sequence of songs, and he lost when we got to Ireland, he called a rehearsal. It was about the 4th country we hit, and he replaced 4 songs with 4 more popular songs, because those 4 he replaced were kind of not big hits. So we learned like Rebel Rebel, more popular songs, and it was just unbelievable tour.
Well, yeah. So you're talking about the Glass Spider tour, right? And when were you actually out with David touring? When was that?
That was 87.
That was
Okay.
Glass Spider.
Yeah, that was before I was down here. That's when I first started working with Entwistle. 87.
Wow.
Yeah.
We have a Who connection.
Yeah, and I was looking, and let me come back to the pictures. Let me play the pictures for 1 second. Hang on a second. Wait, I gotta get these up.
Well, we're
Sorry.
in 79 was something about a target or a
Yeah, Target. What was the Bullseye?
bullseye.
Oh, Bullseye on CBS. There was a song called Treat Me Right.
Yes,
with-
Pat Benatar.
Yeah, Doug Lubaum wrote that. Doug he was in a band called Clear Light in the 60s.
I remember Clear Light.
Yeah, on Elektra. And also he played bass on some Doors tracks.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, he's amazing. He was amazing. And he was in New York, and he wrote Treat Me Right, and CBS didn't CBS Records for Bullseye thought we didn't have any hit songs on the record. So they assigned Treat Me Right, written by Doug Lubaum. We didn't want to do it really, but we did it. And nothing happened with that band except we got a great review somewhere in Texas. and then Pat Benatar covered it. Boom.
Well, that's lightning striking. That's a beautiful thing. And it's amazing how that works out. It's amazing how many songs the original writer wanted to try to do them and then never had a hit with them, and then they give it to somebody else and it's smash. Yeah. It's strange how it goes. But interesting, I was looking, there's a picture, and I'll run those again. There's a picture on the... it'll come up and I'll mention it on the Glass Spider tour with everybody, and it was interesting to see Peter Frampton sort of punked up. It was. I'm trying to wait for that. There it is. There you go. It was. Do you know the picture that I'm talking about? I stole it from your Facebook page.
Is it just the band taking a picture?
Yeah, and you like all, it's a band shot. Frampton's on the end wearing a motorcycle jacket. And
yeah, David's not in that picture.
Who's not in there?
David.
Right, no, I was talking, but that was the band, right? Because Carlos Alomar was in there. That was a great shot. And I was curious, that was 87?
Yeah.
I mean, that was 10 years after Comes Alive, and I had, I was buds and bandmates with Bob Mayo, so I have a Frampton connection too. But we'll come back to that. I was just wondering what his posture, Frampton's posture was 10 years after that double live album. Now all of a sudden, was he hanging with everybody, or was he, off doing his own thing?
Yeah, he hung out a little. He was more to himself. But, he was friends with David growing up.
Yeah.
So at the time, Peter wasn't really doing much, and David asked him to play on an album. And after Peter played on that album, I believe it was Never Let Me Down album, David asked Peter if he wanted to come on tour as a sideman, just as a guitar player.
Right.
Peter was like, yes, I just want to play guitar.
Like in Humble Pie.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's... listen, I've been there in my own world, and we're going to cut from that into our Who connection. But, you know, there's a passage in there's a John Entwistle book out there, and he talks about when Frampton was, I guess it was the Herd. I can't remember what the early band was that opened for
That was his first band, yeah.
Okay, they used to handcuff him to the radiator in the dressing room. Moon used to lock him up to the radiator so that he couldn't go on stage. They tortured him, but good.
Yeah, let me just say that when I got the call for David and they told me Peter was playing guitar, I was so excited because I was the biggest Humble Pie fan.
Oh.
The first time Humble Pie played Fillmore East, I was living in Brooklyn, right? And I took the train to New York, and I was short $1 to get into the Fillmore. It was only like $3.50 to get in at the $3.50, $4.50, and $5.50. I just needed money to get back to Brooklyn, and I didn't have enough, so I stood on the side of the Fillmore, the fire doors, and put my ear to the door. And that's the first time I heard them live. I already had the Town and Country album and As Safe as Yesterday. The next time they played, which was Rockin' the Fillmore, I was there for that.
You were the man. We go home on Monday, but we've all had a gas this time. It's really been a gas.
Yeah, and at one of those points when Steve's talking, I go, yeah, and it's on the record.
Wow.
Oh, how cool. I'm getting a China Club flashback of you telling me that story.
It's a possibility, because that's major for me. And here's the other thing. The next night, when they finished the Fillmore run, they played the OBI out on Long Island. And my friend in Brooklyn stole a car, called me up, and said, meet me downstairs. We're going to go see Humble Pie again.
Wow.
We went, the ignition was popped. We go to Oceanside, I believe. It was Oceanside, Long Island.
Yeah.
And I don't remember who the opening act was, but when they finished, I had to go to the restroom. And when I went to the restroom and I put my hand on the door handle to go in, the door opposite opened, and it was Steve Marriott. That's where the dressing room was. And he looks at me, and I look at him, and I was like starstruck. And he goes, hi, mate, want a slice of pizza? And I, yeah. And he led me in the dressing room. They had 2 pies. That's the catering. They had 2 pizzas, and there I was standing with the band, eating a pizza, just looking. Yeah, it only lasted 2 minutes. The road manager said, gotta go, they're gonna get ready to go on.
Yeah, but that's how simple it was back then. That's how, it's funny. Do you know Pepe Castro?
I don't know him, but I know who he is.
He was in Blues Magoos, and he was on the show, and he was telling me about the Herman's Hermits and the Who tour with them, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, I didn't even realize, you put the stuff together, who played with who, and but I saw the Who connection, I saw the Ink and the whole nine. Tell me about that.
Oh, well, I met Pete. I never really met John. I ran into him in the Dallas-Fort Worth airport many years ago, and we talked for a second. But I met Pete because I did the tour of a Broadway show called The Army.
Oh,
It was a
went to
Broadway
that.
show. It was a pretty big hit for a year or two.
Yeah.
And I did the tour. So Pete was there every day at the rehearsals. So we kind of got a little close, and to this day, we email and friends.
Yeah, and believe me, I know that, or I know that to be true in my own relationship with him. Pete and I stayed, kind of connected over the years. We were both at the funeral. He made a very nice gesture to me there, said, if you come to any of the shows you want, you'll always be treated like family. And, of course, the reason I went to any of the shows was because I was there with John, for John, whatever it was. And I don't remember, it was a few years ago, maybe 3, 4 years ago. He invited us to come see them in Miami, which it's not that far. It's about the same distance to Tampa. And we went, and it was just weird, being there, that the whole reason, my whole center reason for being there ever was John. Was not there, but he was genuine. Pete came in, we talked for a little while, and,
Right, and we went to see Tommy the play
That's
on
right.
Broadway with John.
Yeah, we John took us to see Tommy on Broadway, so we that's how we know Donnie Kerr. Do you know Donnie?
Sure.
So there you go.
He did the German production. I did that for a while because he'd asked me.
Is that what that Union Jack set of drums is? That I see?
No, that was just something I found in the early 2000s while on tour. I don't know if I saw it on eBay, but I found it in Knoxville. And I happened to be in Texas on a travel day, and I said, I gotta go get those.
Wow.
So I got in touch with the guy, and it was like deliverance. It was off a side road. I went through a forest, and then there was a lake, and then there was a house, and then a shack next to that. I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
And in the shack, there were like 6 drum sets. That's all that was in that little shack. It was just drum sets. And I bought it right then and there. And I had an SUV back then. And I just put them in the car and took them with me.
Wow, that's a great.
British, Union Jack drum.
And what brand are they? Are they
There.
really?
Yeah. I used them on the American leg of the Bowie celebration, which only lasted like under 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, that was what we were talking about. That you got canceled in March.
Right. So that in Europe, I used rental. They supplied the drum, but in the States, that was time to use the Union Jack kit. We only did like a week and a half till it got canceled.
Yeah, there's nothing like going through all those rehearsals and gearing up and getting ready, and then you have the shakeout show, then the breakout show, and it's like and then it stops. The only thing I can compare to that is stop. My father's home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. But anyway, so what? I got to ask you just the drummer questions, because I purposely didn't look at all the stuff you use, so I could ask you about it now. Sticks, heads, drums, cymbals. Who's?
Yeah, I'm not like a big equipment guy. I just get the basics. I get what I need.
You get what you like.
Yeah, my tech would do all the stuff. I mean, I really don't know. I don't know what I like, but I like pasty cymbals.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Zildjian and Sabian as well, but there was a time I really fell in love with the 2002s.
I love the 2002s.
Years later. Yeah, years before.
The black ones, not the red ones, but with the black logo on them, the 2002s, I love those. I'll tell you a funny Peisty story. When Peisty first came out, and I actually remember, I don't know if I was in White Plains and Sam Ash was in White Plains, and they were going to have this, this thing with Peisty, that if you broke one of their cymbals, they would replace it for $1. Do you remember anything like that?
No.
Well, I think I personally got them to change that policy, because I went in there every Monday with all of my cymbals and like $7. And everybody, it's right hand. This is, going back to my Rat Race Choir days. And so, we're just starting out. It's, early 70s or whatever it is. And every gig or every week, I'm showing up with brand new cymbals. And it's like, what? What kind of money are these guys making? Nah, $7.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, true.
I used Pasty back in like 80. I was in a band, an American band with a British singer, and we got a deal in Germany. And when we played a few gigs with Squeeze, we opened for Squeeze, I ended up getting my first endorsement with Pasty.
That's great. Yeah, I just, there was something about that formula. And, I've been a Zildjian guy, and I'm a, Zildjian guy now. That's
because to send your broken cymbals back to them
yeah,
now.
right. Yeah, no, I send my broken cymbals back to John DeChristopher. But if you're out there watching, John, I got a load for you. But it's those Pisces. They really, I remember they had, there was a tone, and they recorded as well, if not better. If you used thin ones, smaller ones, which was like suicide for me, but if you used 16s and 18s, thin ones, boy, they just reacted. They were nice in the studio.
Yeah, 16s and 18s were my preferred sizes as well.
Yeah.
I think I liked them. They had a little crispness in it, like a little high-end thing.
Yeah, sizzleness to it. Yeah, I love that. I don't know that I can hear that anymore, but when I could, it was great.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. Barely.
Yeah, I hear you. Believe me, I'm with. So, what about sticks? What do you like sticks? Nylon tips or no nylon tips?
No nylon. Recently, I've been using Cupman out of the Netherlands. They're carbon fiber.
Oh.
And they last a lot longer. But the reason I went with them because they gave me sticks to try, and I tried them last year while playing with John Wade. And I realized there was like, I used one pair for like 3 nights, and I went, oh, this is unbelievable.
What happens after 2 or 3 nights that you wouldn't use them anymore? Do they chip, or what happens?
They do chip a little, yeah. And so then when the weight starts to get affected, then I get rid of them. But like normally, if I use, say, like a traditional Vic Firth stick, I could go through a pair or 2 in one show, sometimes.
Yeah, I've been there. I use Vader, and oh, wow. Listen for the doorbell.
He's dropping in.
Here it
Surprise,
comes.
surprise. Who could this be?
Who could this be?
Who could this?
Alan!
Yeah, you don't know who that is?
I can't see.
Can you see him, Alan?
No.
Oh,
Oh, I
Dark.
see. I know who that is.
Dark.
it's Matt Beck.
Not that!
Yep.
That! JJ!
Hey, JJ! What's up, Alan?
How are you, man?
Good.
Where are you? In New York?
I'm at my son's soccer practice.
Oh, wow.
In New York.
I saw.
How do you know Matt, Steve?
Oh God, we came up to. He was younger than me, but we came up together. He did some transcriptions of some fusion stuff that I wrote.
He used to come see Rat Race
and
Choir.
he used to come to see Rat Race Choir, and oh man, yeah, that's a.
He was on
Alan,
the show.
I've known Steve longer than I've known you, Alan.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
We were lived in the same city, same town.
Yeah.
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 In Queens?
No, we used in Putnam, Westchester.
Yeah, the top of Westchester County.
Yeah.
And the
I'll
thing-
meet you at the I'll meet you at the IGA. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yes,
At the
yes.
IGA.
And here's the thing. I was looking when I was going through your pictures today, Alan. I saw a picture which you guys can tell me the story of. I saw a picture of you and Matt. I'm guessing. Well, I'm not guessing because he told me it was 1999 in New Orleans. And I have my own hurricane. I married my hurricane from New Orleans.
Right.
But this is what this show is all about. It's about reconnecting with people that we would, how long you've known Matt for decades. When was the next time you were going to talk to him? When I made that connection, I made this connection.
Oh,
Yeah, man. New Orleans was, we spent I think, was it 2 weeks there? Or we spent a few weeks in New Orleans. Remember that?
that's past my memory range.
Who were you playing with?
Who were you out with?
Rent.
We were doing the Rent tour.
Rent.
We were touring Rent.
I have a picture. Is he in the black and white picture? Is Matt in the black and white Rent picture?
I'm not sure.
Not sure either.
I'll have to look now.
Yeah.
That's how we met. And what was amazing, the first few days, we hung out in my room, I think, and it was the days that we had CD books.
Ace Logic. Yeah.
You toured and you had CD books. And we found out that we loved a couple of the same artists. And they're not like classic rock artists. They were like Alan Holdsworth, the fusion guitar. And Scritti Politti.
Oh, he loves it.
Love Scritti.
Yeah.
It was like, how could Matt like Scritti Politti? It was just unbelievable.
We love Scritti.
That was amazing.
Yeah, we love Scritti.
Great moment.
That's well, there's the picture. It just went
What was the
by.
name of that Scritti Politti? Had Perfect Way.
Yeah, Perfect Way.
Yeah.
The first $1 million mix, that record, if I am correct.
I believe it. A lot of it was done in White Plains, I believe, at that studio in White Plains.
North Lake.
North Lake.
Yeah. I asked Will. Will Lee lives here in the city, and I asked him about that because he tracked on like a couple songs, and so did was it
Ira Siegel.
Iris? I asked him about that too. I said, Ira, what did you play on? He goes, I just came in and did some overdubs. They just had me do a couple things,
Man, everybody's talking about
Laura.
Did you guys hear the doorbell ring?
somebody else was at the party. There.
I think it's Eddie Martinez.
Eddie Martinez.
He's down in the flesh.
What's going on, cats? Wow. What's going on, Childs?
What's up, Eddie?
How you been?
Staying out of that smoke?
Oh man, it's so fucked up in this motherfucker, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, man.
I haven't been out of the house in days. I stick my head out the back deck and I get a whiff and it smells like, acrid smoke. And there's like a haze and it's a mixture of fog that never burns out. Usually there's fog in the morning. The sun burns it away by, 10:30, 11 o'clock. But we're doing all right, man. We're all safe. We're all sound. No complaints, man.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God.
You know Matt Beck? He's in here too.
Yeah, do you know Matt Beck, Eddie?
I don't think we've ever met, but
No, I don't think so, Matt. But I've heard about you and nice
fan.
to meet you.
nice to meet you,
cheers.
man. Big fan.
Thank you.
Big fan here.
No, you know what?
Thank you so much.
I feel like Queen for a day.
This is your life, Alan Child.
Like all
your
my
life.
friends are coming.
Well, who knows who's going to show up next?
That's right.
What time is it?
Oh man, let me tell you about Alan. The first time I met Alan was when I was playing with Nona Hendrix, and we were looking for a drummer so desperately. We had gone through, I don't know how many drummers we'd gone through. Long story short, Alan comes in looking like a rock star, and there was a kit already set up, and Jose, who was our percussionist, he also played traps, and he played this beat.
I remember that.
And then Jose played it, and Alan played it exactly. None of the other drummers could play it, and Alan did it on the first go around after the first listen. You know, and so that was our introduction. And then he got a record deal with his band. He couldn't play.
Oh, in 1979, that must have been.
Now, is that after LaBelle?
Yeah, this was after LaBelle. This was with
79.
Nona Hendrix when she went solo.
Yeah.
And then Alan played on my first solo album, and he's all
Wow.
over it.
Which, by the way, first of all, Matt, I got to tell you, looking at the city in the background of your shot is making me like, oh God, I feel it. And Eddie, your tracks, the Milkman was blowing my mind, but
Oh,
your
yeah,
tracks,
yeah.
bro, you got to let me know
and
how
eggs.
to. Oh yeah, bacon and eggs,
Yeah.
and it was awesome. That stuff.
That's very 20th century naughty kind of shit. You know
It's
what I mean?
rocks, man.
Milkman getting his suit on, you know, to impress the ladies and shit.
Awesome! It was awesome. I mean, I enjoyed it, and I continue to enjoy it. So
Thanks, man.
we ought to send the tracks around. Matt, don't you have a solo album out too?
I do. I've got a few things out there, but yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that would be a fun thing, you know. And again, I thank you both guys, my guest guys, Al, and of course, you know, this was your show. But this is, if I'm trying to do anything in this world, it's keep our community cemented together. And if this is the only way that we can do it, well, it's better than, you know, waiting for somebody to come down the street. Who's this now?
Oh, somebody else is here.
Oh, okay. Is that you? Who's this? I don't even know. Anyway, I don't know. Somebody said I got to take a quick break. I'll be right back. Maybe it was Edward Snowden. I don't know. But the fun thing about this is it's we're creating that same vibe as if we were backstage at, you know, the Paramount or wherever, and it's so cool. And we were talking about North Lake in White Plains. Right, the recording studio.
Yeah.
What studio was that?
Alan played there.
North Lake Sound, and it was Chip Taylor owned the place. John Voight was one of the owners.
White
I
Plains.
think I did a session there once with a Canadian band called Platinum Blonde.
Oh,
Oh, they're
I've
great.
heard of
I remember
them.
Platinum Blonde. Yeah.
Way back, way back.
10 minutes before this show started, I got a call from Chris Cassone, who was the head engineer there from door to door.
Yeah.
It's just such a small, crazy world.
That's
Steve, I just want to say how important Matt and Eddie are to me.
Aw.
Really. I mean, they're major people in my life.
That's great.
Alan, it was,
mutual.
I mean, right back at you, man. I mean, it was all those talks we had on the road which made me want to come back to the city and do stuff, you know? You inspired me. Go do stuff, you know? To actually get out there, be heard. Get out there and do something, you know?
I knew you'd do it.
You told me, you said, Matt, you got to get off this tour. If you want to do that stuff, you got to get off this tour. And that's what I did.
Every day you recorded with somebody.
That was the Rent tour, right? That was the Rent tour?
Yeah. I mean, I did it for like over a year, so it was time. It was time, you know, and Alan gave me the right advice, you know?
Oh, yeah.
If it wasn't for that.
And I got to say, also, Eddie, when I met Eddie with Nona Hendrix, I mean, that was a major moment.
Can imagine.
Sounds like the.
I want to hear about. You know what I'd like to hear about, Eddie. Eddie,
Yeah.
can you talk about Heart's Desire? I love that track. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Donald Blackman?
Yes, I love that record. Can you talk about
man.
those sessions? I love that record.
Well,
You
Donald
play some great
Blackman,
stuff on there.
thank you. Donald Blackman was a genius. He passed away about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And we used to play together in Lenny White's band, along
Yeah.
with Denzel Miller, who's another genius. These guys, I don't use those words loosely. Denzel Miller is a genius. Donald Blackman was a genius.
I mean, that one record is just, I love all the
fun.
songs on that record.
Unbelievable. I was touring with Stanley Clark and George Duke, and we had a bit of a break, so I went back home, and Donald wanted me to play on that record, and he was doing it at A&R Studios. Remember the old A&R? I think it's on 48th Street and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
And further west of Manny's and all those stores. So he says, Eddie, you got to hear this drummer. You got to hear this fucking drummer, Dennis Chambers. You got to hear that. You got to hear fucking Dennis Chambers. You know, and oh my God.
I mean, how old was he? How old was he then?
I don't know. He had to have been, that's a long time ago, man. But
He's pretty young.
yeah, he was a pretty young cat.
Yeah.
You know, we were all younger.
It was.
But
guys-
I heard him.
Alan,
and it was
Alan,
special.
do you guys know that record? Alan, do you know that record?
Big
the
time.
Ballroom record. You guys know that record? It'll blow your mind.
I do.
Yeah. Man, I love that record.
Donald was he wrote this hit for us with 29 with Lenny White called Peanut Butter, and when he brought the demo in, it was hilarious because we would all bring our tunes in and we'd share and we'd see what worked and what didn't work and what would fit. And so he came in and he played a cassette, and he got all the children in his neighborhood to sing the parts differently, separately. And when you're feeling hungry, ain't got nothing to eat. Take me to the kitchen. Peanut butter can't be. He's playing this thing on an upright piano with a bunch of children singing it. It was hilarious, and it connected. It was a big hit for Lenny and for the band. So we were lucky. Donald was really he was very special.
He's made. He could play. Man, he played some great solos on that record, boy.
Oh my
on the
God,
outro,
perfect.
oh my God, he could
Perfect
blow, man.
pitch. He had perfect pitch.
I believe it. Wow.
I remember
Really?
one time at the bottom line, we were playing with Lenny White, and all of our tuners were on stage. But at the bottom line, remember that room? There was a little tiny room to
Off
the
of stage right.
Yeah.
and there was an air conditioner on, and it was making noise. And Donald Blackman, we were about to tune us. Oh shit, our tuners. He said, "Oh, just put next to my ear," and that's it. Me and Nicky Morrock, and we went on stage, and it was perfectly in tune.
Wow.
He's so funny, motherfucker. Oh my God, he was so funny.
I love it.
Yeah,
It's like they were like all Queens, right? Queens crew, right?
yeah. And I was born in Queens, and then it seems like I came back to Queens to play with all those cats later on in my life.
I love it, man. Love it.
Thank you.
So amazing, the paths that we all took. It all sort of started in New York, and everybody went out and did their. It's just so cool how it all happened. This perspective on it from the not the other end of it, but from the the beginning of the third act, looking backwards. It's amazing the ground that we've all covered, and and the pride. I watched Matt. I remember Matt before Rent, and to see all the sessions that he's playing on, and it makes my heart leap.
We saw Matt on the New Year's Eve show.
Yeah, we saw him on the whatever it was on the top of Rockefeller Center, and it was like
Thomas. We're like, look
Oh,
at
right. Yeah.
that was great. That was
Last
great.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, so I
great.
don't know if you'll be
another
up there
thing
this year.
Another thing about Alan, he has a style of playing that's so unique, and the only when Alan plays, it reminds me of Tony Williams.
Oh.
It's something about his touch, the way he formulates his drum fills. It reminds me of like Tony Williams reincarnated. Along with some other rock shit that Alan does that's unique to himself. It's like it's really special.
Well, I believe that's an influence, right, Alan? I believe you used to tell me that was an influence.
That's the highest compliment I've ever gotten. I'm super high right now.
well, you're queen for a day.
He was the man.
Alan would always put on Lifetime.
What happened?
We haven't broken anything yet.
Now
Myself,
back to our regular show.
obviously, I tried to
Wow, we apologize for any
incorporate
interruption.
the vibe of Tony
This must
more
have
in
been
the
it.
rock setting. But Tony was definitely one of the main guys.
I'll share a quick Tony Williams lifetime story with you.
Please.
Being a local boy in the Westchester crew, we had the Capitol Theater. I was going there with my keyboard player to see Lee Michaels and Frosty. Remember Lee Michaels and Frosty, right? And when we got there, Lee Michaels canceled, and the replacement act was Tony Williams' lifetime. It was Larry Young on keyboards, Tony, Jack Bruce, and John McLaughlin.
Wow.
And they played one song for the.
Yeah, they played that medley of one song.
I saw them at the Village Vanguard.
You did? Wow.
That
same
band.
band?
Yeah.
Those guys, that lineup.
Yep. That band in the Village Vanguard.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And then I saw the Tony Williams Lifetime with Holdsworth at the Bottom Line.
You know what? I went to a show with Tony Williams at the Bottom Line, and I'm dying. Oh shit! Tony Williams, Alan Holdsworth, and the whole bit. And then Alan had just left the band. Remember that game? Oh man, I was like, what the fuck? No offense, man, but there's only one Alan Holdsworth, man. So I thought, oh man, it was like totally. Oh man, whap whap whap! You need that little, that little droopy Debbie Downer music. It's like, oh yeah, let me buy a hot dog and get the fuck out of here, man. It's like,
When I went to see Tony at the Bottom Line, and they came on stage, I'm looking at the guitar player and his white SG special, whatever that was.
yeah, that was an SG Les Paul.
Yeah, and I'm saying to myself, I know that guy. And then when he started to play, it hit me. He was in a band called Tempest. John Heisman's Tempest.
Wow.
Yep.
John Heisman from Coliseum. John Heisman.
Exactly, but they tried to be more Black Sabbath-y. It was kind of heavy.
Interesting.
And I love that album. And I noticed the guitar player was not Clapton-esque at all. And I was like, what is he playing? And I was so intrigued. And I was that did it. That moment, I was a fan for life. And then when Tony Williams, I was like, holy shit, it's the same guy. And in those days, you could stay in the Bottom Line if you used your head in between shows.
Yep.
Well, I went to the bar after the first show and
That's what you do. I met Buddy Miles at the bar. The Electric Flag reunion, man. It's like, shit, man. Hey, somebody's at the bar, they're not going to fucking kick you out. You're buying, aren't you? It's like,
Right? So I'm standing at the bar in Holdsworth. I didn't know at the time. I like to drink beer, and he's standing right next to me. And I said, Mr. Holdsworth, I have you on the Tempest album. And he goes, I don't want to talk about that. I didn't like this. My tone wasn't really happening. He's almost pissed off.
oh, drag.
And I backed off.
Well, he was a notorious self-loather, like all the interviews, he always downplayed everything he ever did,
I heard that. I heard a lot
Yeah,
about
I've never met him, but I always heard that about him. And he always, in his interviews, he always downplayed everything.
That's true.
Crazy.
I met him once. It was at NAMM. I think it was in '88, and it was a great story. I heard. I think Seymour Duncan had told me that Jeff Beck was around because he really wanted to see James Burton. Was a big James Burton fan. So this is all cool. So I figured I'll go to see James Burton's set, who happens to be the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. And long story short, I'm just moseying around, and I see this area way at the back at NAMM, and there was like a room, a door and a velvet rope, right? I says, oh shit, that must be for like all the, you know, the mega stars. So I'm walking by it and I see Jeff Beck and he was with his manager. And Jeff, remember, I worked with Jeff on Jagger's album, so he saw me. He says, and he told the guy that was at the gate. He says, "I want this guy to come in. Have this kid come in." So the velvet rope opened up, and I entered in with Jeff Beck. And in this back room was Alan Holdsworth and Booker was there, Van Halen.
Oh my God!
Light Ranger. I mean, it was like guitar player heaven, you know. And I got to meet Alan briefly there. That's a great story, man. I'm just so kind of Jeff to do that.
That is so cool.
Well, did anybody see, talking of Holsworth, did you see UK when he was in it with Bill Bruford?
Yes.
No, I mean,
I didn't see it live, but I heard it.
I saw them at Central Park, and I was all the way in the back, right? And when Eddie Jobson played those bass pedals, you can feel it in the ground. And I was all the way back.
Wow.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was nuts. Somebody snuck a cassette recorder into that show, and I think I could have been the Bottom Line. And before that album came out, we learned all those songs, and everybody thought that it was our original material. I think my wife still does.
Play that. I've been to a Rat Race Choir show and heard you guys play that before. Yeah.
I loved it. I mean, that was it was like a license to steal. It was like you were getting paid by the note. I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, God, Holsworth was so unique. I don't know whether we'll see the likes of anybody like him again. There was just something so, his vocabulary was so unorthodox. It was really kind of like, you just have to experience it. You know, you just really have to experience it. It was kind of like, kind of like Hendrix too. For a long time, I would listen to Hendrix, and I just didn't really want to get into the magic. I didn't want to deconstruct, deconstruct something and re-engineer it, or reverse engineer the magic. Right. But I think part of your learning, you have to do that. But still, with the greats, it doesn't lose the magic. But also, you listen to that stuff and. You can
I know what you mean.
You can kind of approach it from how you try to manifest how he played through you, through yourself. But you can't do that stuff, man. That's just like some other. That's like that's another planet.
It's alien.
Yeah,
it's so true.
It is.
I think you're right, though. I think all guitar players who like him, try to get some of that stuff into his playing. But I know very few people who've ever tried to learn a Holsworth solo. I don't think I know anyone who's ever learned it. It's all about the influence, though, that he's had. You ready, bud?
No, I was wondering if we can go get pizza.
Did they win?
Okay.
Did they win?
They're done. They're just practicing today. You want to get some pizza? We're gonna get pizza, I think.
Oh, rub it in.
Maybe we can go somewhere where there's more light. It's dark here in the field, so. Sorry, guys.
That's okay, bro.
Yeah, you're getting New York pizza.
That's all right.
Yeah,
we
New
just
York
don't
pizza.
show it to us.
There's not a lot going on here in the city, but New York pizza is still happening.
Yeah.
Even the 99-cent stores have decent pizza.
Right, even them,
Wow, man.
Oh man.
So when's our next gig?
Yeah.
2022.
Oh, please.
Man.
I'll tell you
That's
what.
this year.
And this goes for everybody. If we can unite on a video call, I don't know when I would ever get a chance to play with you, Eddie, Matt. We've done our little bit, and Alan, who knows? But I am getting ready to light this whole thing up back here and just send out tracks. If anybody's,
please.
believe me, let's get busy. Let's just make this thing work. A friend of mine has given me a template so that when I send the tracks out, whether it'll all work for everybody. So,
Yeah,
and let's
I love
make
it.
something come out of this.
Please, I know. I'm dying to be creative.
No, I hear you, man, and
know?
I'm about it too. So we've got some lemons, so we better get to making some lemon meringue pie.
I'm in.
So yeah, I was hoping I had Carmine on the hook.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to make it for sure, but that was not to be.
Oh, Greg.
But listen, I'm going to play a quick commercial, and we can, we'll come right back and just give me a minute to take a break. If you want to take a break, I'll see you back here in a minute. But this is my little way of paying the bills.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that was a really fun show.
Those guys are. I mean, that's what the business is all about for me. It's all about the connections, the kinship, nobody's telling, oh man, I got, hit by a bus, or, I fell out of the plane. Everybody's remembering the joy. And that's what we need, especially around this time of year, is the joy. And man, I got me some joy working today. I have been reconnecting with a bunch of old friends, and I spoke to another one today. My good friend and one of the most talented engineers I know, Jim Roberts. It's a circle that we all live in, and it's funny. I don't know when the last time I spoke to Jim was. Probably at a NAMM show, and
I came down here for the Robin Zander, Eddie Money, Jermaine Arena show.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was here.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, still, that was a long time ago,
Yeah,
and I like.
2005.
I like hanging out with Jim. He's a funny guy. I'm going to have him on the show.
Yeah.
He just got himself a new piece of gear, and he's all excited about it. And that's what we do, is connect the dots. So
And he was in a band with Paul Cooper.
right, right. He was in a band, and
Small
just to
world.
show you how small it is, how small the world is. You guys remember Don Wershba, who's a new friend of the show. I mean, I've
Comes in
known.
on Fridays.
Right, comes in on Fridays, and we're always talking about SSL, and that's not my initials.
No, your initials are SLL.
Right. We're not going near that. Jeff, I'm scrambling my brain now.
Worshpa.
Yeah, Don worked for SSL, and Jim just got an SSL.
So Steve's going to connect.
So I'm
those
like,
dots. You have to talk to Don.
and so I'm going to connect those. And guys, if you're watching, I'm going to give you guys each other's number, and we can have a geek fest on Friday anytime. Oh, wow.
Now, if you remember, Don was on the show, and he had worked for Media Sound, gorgeous studio in Manhattan.
Right.
And he saw a Rat Race Choir.
And quit the job to come and be a roadie for us.
Quit working for Media Sound.
Now,
so
here's
he can
how
be a roadie.
you hear me talk about La Barbat all the time, how we used to go there and jam. La Barbat is what Media Sound turned into after it was no longer a recording studio.
That's right. And it was a church at one time.
Yeah, and we recorded there. Rat Race recorded there.
Yeah, it's just a small
It
little
is a
circle.
tiny little circle. That's why I'm out here, so I can get a good view of it. So let's see. I've added the candle. We have the Christmas drums.
Yes.
We have one more night, one more funky night.
Tomorrow night.
The third
Christmas
annual,
party.
the third annual Christmas party.
But it's Free for All Friday.
So it's the third annual Free for All Friday Christmas party. Just, you're going to want to be there. I'm sure there will be hysterical stories and remembrances. And I'll tell you what, kids, I'm setting up for the holiday of a lifetime this year.
That's right.
I am feeling really good. I'm filled with joy and optimism and vision, and dreams come true every day, kids. I hope yours come true every day as well. And man,
Visions of sugar plums dancing through your head.
that's it. So yeah, so tomorrow, right here, Christmas party, I'll be wearing I told you I got a special shirt for the Christmas party. I can't wait for you to see it. I took a long time picking it out, and but this is going to be my official holiday shirt from now on.
Okay. He's full of shit. He did not take a long time picking it up.
No, that's right. She took a long time picking it out. And if I don't see you in the future, I will see you in the pasture.
Good night, everybody.
Be kind.